Welcome back. So now we have a get all, we have a post to create, and we have a get by ID. Let's try and look at the update. How do we do update with a put request? And let's just start again with the web API, and then next lesson we'll do the clean architecture. So let's jump into our code right here. The first thing we need to figure out is how we do a put request. And actually a put request is a combination of the get request and the post request kinda, because we both need to have an ID, or at least I think that's a good thing to do. And then we also need to have something from the body, which is the data we want to update, right? So we need both of these things in order to create a put request. Let's try and do it. First of all, let's make an HTTP put. That's the same like we did with the other requests. We need an HTTP put. And as I said, just like with the get request, for something with an ID, we need to add specifically an ID to explain what we are going to update. So it might be /video/1 to explain I'm updating video with ID 1. Good. The next thing I want to do is, of course, give this a name of some kind. We're going to return an action result. It's going to return, let's just say, a video for now. We can change that into a DTO later. We also wanted to have a name, so let's just say put video to kind of explain that's what we're going to do. We're going to update a video. You can also call it update video if you're more into that name. Put video. And next thing I want to do is I want to say I'm going to pass in the ID just like we did in the get request. By ID, we're going to map these two together, but I also need a way to get the actual data from the body that I want to update. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add here, we're going to say, I would like to also put in something from the body. So I'll say from body, and there I would like to get a put DTO, put video DTO. If you don't have that yet, I just created it while you guys weren't watching. It's right here. It's just another DTO I created. Very simple stuff. Let's put that in there and just call it DTO for now. And there we go. Now we have a way to get both the ID and the parameter for the guy I want to update. And also we can get an ID in here actually. And I can kind of decide if they are the same. Then I know the person who's trying to update the video, he's actually sent the right body data compared to the parameter. I'll show you that in a second. For now, let's just return null. Again, like we did earlier, just to kind of get this to not complain and throw exceptions in my face. Good. Now what I want to do is, before we continue, I want to actually say, if the ID you're getting in the parameter is not the same as the ID you're getting in the DTO, you did something wrong. Because if you don't pass into me an ID in the parameter that's the same as the video you want to update, you might have picked the wrong object to send with the current parameter. So I'm trying to help the UI guy here, the front-end guy, figure out if he actually passed in the right video. If this happens, instead of actually continuing, I'll throw a new exception. And for now, let's just throw a basic exception and say something like this. Now we can be more precise, but it's just again to give you an idea about how we can decide if we're actually doing the right thing right here. Now we could throw this exception. Now we could actually be even more precise, and we could say, instead of throwing the exception, let's actually instead say return bad request. This is a bad request. Bad request meaning that the user did something wrong or the front-end guy did something wrong. And here we'll pass the same message. ID must be the same as the parameter. There we go. So now we are kind of explaining to the user who's using our backend that if he sends in an ID in the parameter that's not the same as in the video DTO, he'll actually get an exception back. Let's just try and rerun this. The application is running. Let's try and dive into Swagger and just refresh this, and boom, we have our new put request. First of all, let's just execute a couple of videos right here. So try it out and just execute a couple of videos. There we go. Now we have some videos available. Let's just hide this again. Go to our update now, and here, just to test this out now, I'll go to try it out again, and I'll put in an ID of 1 right here. And by mistake, I'll pass in an ID of 2. Notice I have both the world of the parameter now, like from the get request, and I also have the world from the request body, like in the post request. They're both available. Here's the parameter in my put, and here's the request body in my put. And notice I put in different IDs right here, and I'll do a execute, and let's see what happens. I get a response back saying ID in param must be the same as an object. So it's a 400 code, meaning it's a bad request, and as a front-end developer, I would know I did something wrong, and the server actually responded to me, you need to change your inputs in order for me to execute whatever you want me to execute. So if I put in 1 here again, so I know the same ID here in the actual data as the one I'm passing in the parameter, and I do execute again, I would of course just for now get a null back. So it's a 204, but it means that I accepted now what you actually send in. Now I just need to kind of fix the clean architecture or the onion architecture in my backend, so we actually do update the actual code right here. So that's it for this lesson. Now you know how to do a put request inside a web API, and next lesson we'll just add the clean architecture setup so that we can actually get some real update inside our fake database. See you next time. Bye.